Hi YouTube. I thought I'd share another video on our life journey, and this video is going to be titled My Interesting Encounters with Police Officers. My interesting encounters with police officers throughout my life story. I got 4 to 5 that I want to share that was interesting. As an African American, as a black guy, you hear these stories about interaction with officers, and it can be brutal to critical to decent to pleasant and everything in between. So I just want to share the top interactions I had with officers. So let's get it started. So I'm gonna go from the one that was could went south, but it didn't, into the one where it really went south. So let's start out with the one that it could have went south, but it didn't. So I'm a young guy. This was back in 2010, 2011. I was living in Coralville, Iowa at the time. Coralville, Iowa. I had a job. One of my better jobs was Geico Insurance, being an insurance agent for a call center, and I just got a new car. Well, new to me. It was a 2008 and 2011 Toyota Scion, and in Iowa, you have to put the plates on the front and the back. I'm from Louisiana, where you just had the back plate, but maybe it is different now because there's been some years since I've been in my home state that I was born and raised. But back at the time in Iowa, you had to put plates on the front and the back. Maybe it's like that for most states, but at the time, that's how I had to go. And I had the front one, but the back one I was missing some screws. It's just a lot of screws. I wasn't used to having two plates on one car getting screws. So I had to get my screws, and I set my plate just on the window, but it fell, and the officer pulled me over. And at that time, it seems like I was getting pulled over constantly. Just they wanted to run my ID, but I was frustrated when I got pulled over for that. And the officer came up, and I just exploded. Like, I ranted to him. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of y'all officers. All y'all do is pull me over. And yeah, I went there. I was young. It's like, it's because I'm black. That says it's white. And I was just being a male Karen, just screaming and yelling. And you know what he did? He took my plate, and he had screws in his car, and he put it on for me. And he didn't even check my ID or license. He's like, just have a good day. I hope your day gets better. And then he left. And I was shocked. I stood there in silence and on the side of the road for a couple of minutes, realizing that I let my emotions and my temper get the better of me, and that made for a better day. Yeah, that made for a better day. And that I was learning, like, at that time I just had some mental issues, still ironing out, still getting better. But yeah, that was one of the more pleasant experiences dealing with officers. It could have went south. It could have went really bad. He could have like let his emotions get the better of him and told me to get out the car and all this craziness. But no, he chilled out, emphasized, had extra screws, put it in for me, and told me to have a good day. Didn't even run my name or plates or nothing. So shout out to that Coralville, Iowa officers back in the early days, over a decade ago. So that was the counter. So here's another encounter that I have several encounters with the officer. So here's one that, let's go with this encounter. So I'm in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I did a lot of traveling. This goes back to 14 or 15. It was during St. Patrick's Day, and I had a job at Walmart out there. I didn't have a car at the time. I just was down on my luck, and I was just traveling by buses, by Greyhounds and stuff like that. So I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I've been all over, y'all. Don't worry, this channel I'm going to share some stories, but I'm in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm walking from the shelter I was living at. Brutally cold, but seemed like I had on 100 layers of clothing, but it was brutally cold out there. I'm walking to the Walmart, and one officer see me and just stopped me. This back then I didn't know about my rights, and I don't have to ask the questions, and am I being detained? But I just wanted to be as respectful and courteous as I can to these officers. I didn't want that smoke. But officers, brutally cold officer, stopped me. I was walking, stopped me, asked me where I was going, and then he was just questioning me like, what are you doing out? It was like around 10, 11. I had that overnight shift, so I was making my way to Walmart. It's like, what are you doing out on St. Patrick's Day and all that? I'm working that shift. And then his backup came, and they was just questioning me, wanting to see my ID, and which I had, but they kind of find out they thought I was from Chicago, I guess, because Chicago's close to the Green Bay area. And it's brutally cold. They keep me out there, making me sit down on the pavement, just running my IDs and everything. At that time, I was traveling, so I had that San Antonio, Texas ID. I was coming from that area, but then they seen I was out of state, and it was really just drilling me with these questions and had me sit on the curb there, and it was just, I'm shaking, trying to keep my warm because I'm not moving. When you're moving, you can stay warm. So I'm just sitting out there, and finally they let me go. But yeah, that was an interesting encounter, to say, like, brutally encounter with the green. I was just happy at that time, like, hey, I didn't get shot up or nothing crazier didn't happen. I didn't go to jail. I was just a nervous wreck, just out trying to make a little money, staying at the shelter. Eventually I moved on and went to Salt Lake City. But yeah, that was a second encounter, interesting encounter. So let's get to a third encounter. So a third one, this one, let's go ahead and go with this one here. It made me learn about rights. So this one was currently in Boise, Idaho, where I'm currently living at. So I'm close to being home. Again, it's cold. It's brutally cold. These cold cities, right? Boise, Idaho, not as cold as Green Bay, but it was cold. And I was sitting at the light, and this officer came. It was a female officer, and she was like, "Hey, stop right there. Stop. You're being detained." And I was like, I was scared. I was like, oh crap, this is serious. She's like, "I need to see your phone. There's been a fake 911 calls." Back then, I didn't know about my rights, so I promptly handed over the phone. She's searching through my phone, looking the contacts, seeing who I called and stuff like that. And I was embarrassed, man. I felt naked because your phone, that's you. It feels like that's your person. It's who you are. You have everything on there. And it seemed like forever. She's just going through my phone, and then she just tossed it to me, and then she just got in her car and left. Got in her car and left. Didn't even explain herself anymore. Just got in her car and left, and I felt violated. And that's when I started learning about First Amendment artists. I was looking at YouTube videos on how to interact with officers, and I watched hundreds and hundreds of videos. But ironically, since that time, I haven't had an officer bother me ever since. But no, this goes to my fourth encounter. I actually put everything in my fourth and last encounter. I actually put everything I had into practice. So I'm walking as usual, and I'm close by my house. It was like a snowy day, so I didn't want to go too far away. So I'm walking around my house, and if you can see in my previous short video, where I live at, where I work at, is kind of like together. And this officer was like, "Hey, you look suspicious," and I was like, "Is suspicious a misdemeanor or a felony?" And he was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "I don't answer questions, officer. Am I being detained?" And then he tried to go, "Well, you just look suspicious." I was like, "Well, I'm just out and about walking." And he goes, "You live close by?" I was like, "I don't answer questions, officer. Am I being detained?" He's like, "No, you have a great day." And he took off. So that was a win for me, dealing with the officers. And ever since then, I don't have much trouble with officers. I guess now I'm in shape. I look fairly decent, but at the times when I had these previous encounters with the officers, I was sub-5. I was heavy. I was overweight. I'm learning. I am a black pill. I'm learning about black pill, so maybe that has something to do with it. Like, they see me, this big overweight African American black guy. Oh, and there's one more encounter too. I was driving at the time. I had my car, and at the time I was living in Oklahoma City, where I graduated I got my bachelor's degree from. I lived everywhere, pretty much. And I was driving from Oklahoma City to Louisiana, and this officer pulled me over, and it was cold. Why is it always cold when these officers pull? Why not the summertime? Why not spring? It's always cold. I can't tell you. You have to ask them. But he pulls me over, and it's freezing out, and he had me step out the car. I don't know why. He just had me to get out the car. and I'm shaking. And I asked the officer, "Hey, can I, get back in the car, or can I get close to the heater because I had the heater blast?" And he was like, "No." And he made me wait out the car while he got in this warm car, and he was checking my ID and stuff. And it seemed like he was in there forever, man. I'm out there freezing, he just got me standing there right by his car, like just standing there. And finally he gets out and handed me my license and gave me a warning for speeding, which I was going like 5 miles over. I had it on cruise control, and I wanted to get the extra little oomph, so I put it on cruise control, and I was going 5 miles over, but he gave me a warning for that. So I guess I got off with a warning, to be fair, but I paid the price for that warning. It was freezing, man. I'm out there. It was like, I was going in a seizure, Setco. But yeah, those were my quote unquote top interactions with officers. I had one really pleasant one that I was ranting and raving, and the officer was gentle and kind. He didn't have to do that. He could have went south. And I had some other encounters where it wasn't so pleasant. But hey, at least they didn't put hands on me. At least they didn't shoot me up. You hear those stories. And if you stuck around this long, I give you a bonus. Here's a bonus interaction that I had with an officer that I'm just going to say it. So I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and this skinny officer, I was walking, making my way to the park, not walk of exercise, I was just making my way to the park. And this officer, this skinny, small officer, was struggling with this bigger guy, and I was a much bigger dude. At that time, he was just struggling, and people around was just watching this officer struggle. And the officer had his baton, and I seen it, and I ran over to help pin the guy, that the bigger guy the officer was struggling with. But ironically, when the bigger guy, I was a much bigger dude, when the bigger guy see me, he just gave up. And the crowd booed me. They was like, boo. I was like, oh man. Like, in a way, I think I saved that guy, because the officer could have put out a gun or a taser, and it could have went much worse. And then his backup finally came. But when the officer backup finally came, they came at me. They wanted to arrest me, and the skinny officer's like, no, he helped. And they wanted to get my information, but I didn't want to be quote unquote. I didn't want to just deal with it no more. How they almost arrested me, so I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm And they asked me to be a witness. I'm like, no, I'm good. And I just walked off. But yeah, the crowd booed me. The officers wanted to arrest me, and all because I wanted to help the officers. I guess it goes back to that sub-5, being a big black guy out of shape. I don't know. But yeah, all right. That's the video, y'all. That's my interactions with officers. Tell me your interactions with officers. Did you have some pleasant ones, some good ones, or any interactions? Put them in the comments below. I'm the Not a Secret Leroy Clark. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your day or night. Love y'all.